So I will use words like demoralized, upset by lack of government response, and troubled instead. I'll stay calm. And I'm grateful to run such a wonderful company. However, it is impossible to watch your employees, trades, and customers suffer and fear for their employment. It's awful. And I know full well that the builders and renovators in the room feel the same responsibility to their trades, as if in some way you've let them down because you can't provide the employment that they need to provide for their families. And that is truly tragic and heartbreaking. For a more detailed overview, you can watch my very boring 18-minute long LinkedIn videos because it's a complex subject. But I can assure you they're fact-based and not based on political rhetoric, as I'm not a political person. We started publishing videos on LinkedIn in March of 2025, a full year into the crash that was already happening. Calling and predicting exactly what has unfolded. Naively, we thought that once presented with obvious facts, our governments would respond. Wow, were we wrong? Last week, almost a year later, we published an update, which, like the first batch, has literally gone LinkedIn viral. Like 350 hours of people watching this boring video measured to the second. And for those of you that are elected officials, not a single thumbs down from anybody. Everybody understands the message. We now understand after the US situation, the consumers pay tariffs and taxes. They're the ones paying. And so the message is getting out. But right now, the situation is even worse. To be blunt, the biggest threat to our 75-year-old business, in other words, my potential failure, is not the box stores, not other quality competitors, and we have many, and I appreciate what they do, and not the US tariff situation. Don't cast that spell. That's just garbage, although it's not helping. That's not what caused this. The biggest threat to my business, Turkstra Lumber, and all of our staff, is the nonsensical policy of all three levels of our own governments that have caused this crisis. The lack of re-indexing of H.S.T. and rising development charges have led directly to this problem. And of course, as mentioned by Danny, charge H.S.T. on the development charges. Seriously, I can't make this up. You wanted to set out to kill the industry. Well done. Combined, if I use the example in a townhouse, let's say in Binbrook, it's at least $150,000 or more on the cost of dwelling, which you could double on a mortgage. Remember, people are doubling it on their mortgage. And it's made homeownership unaffordable and unattainable. And many of you mentioned it, Mayor, are having to dig in the first $200,000 out of their own pockets to help their kids buy a house, which isn't going to the house, it's going to the government fees. Yes, the market held together for a while with 1.7% interest rates. That was fiction. Now that they've normalized, you're adding $300,000 to $400,000 or more to the life of a mortgage for a young couple. Totally unsustainable. And remember, people buy homes with their after-tax income. So think about how much money they have to earn to make the money to then get gouged by $150,000 to $300,000 on a home. It's insane. The result is the collapse of an industry that feeds the community and the economy by providing skilled jobs and purchasing Canadian materials of every kind. I'll repeat, Canadian materials of every kind. You couldn't ask for a better multiplier effect. From lumber to windows, from trusses to trim, from all the labor that goes into them, all Canadian, almost 100% local. All folks who pay taxes and are very reluctant to go on unemployment insurance, which for some cases now appears to be their future, which is heartbreaking as they're proud people. We, in business, and not just our industry, but many people struggling with the tariff situation, are dealing with wage freezes. Our company hasn't had a wage in a long time, and our employees are losing income through work share, or for many of the trades, being laid off. Meanwhile, I'm sorry if this is aggressive, we have watched as municipalities grow with ballooning overhead costs, new departments, wage increases that have led to higher municipal mill rates. Sorry to be blunt for some of you in the room, but your overtaxation caused the affordability issue, and the consequences have led to a lack of affordability, higher rents, unemployment, and a direct link to poverty. Yes, you have caused poverty. Tragic, but our current reality. For those of us in the room who have 75 years under our belt and tried to give back as philanthropists, how can we do it if you've stolen our ability to protect our employees? So trust me, the next thing coming will be a cry for charities at the time they need it most, because they're already out of money. In the context of Hamilton, we're not here today, but I'll send this by video next week. Trust me. Also, so far we sent the video from last week to 100 elected officials of all forms, to Carney, to Ford, to Flack, to all the elected officials. In the context of Hamilton, as someone with 4 lumber yards here and hundreds of employees, now that you've increased the mill rates because you can't control your budgets, thanks for the double kick in the teeth. And I really feel for somebody who owns a bagel store who gets a $500 tax increase. How many bagels do they have to sell to cover those increases that never roll back? If we didn't have 75 years of Dutch saving for a rainy day, and I'm sure Italians do it too. And my margins are slim, so I gotta say more. We can easily be out of business. And I'm not saying that to be alarmist. Turkstra lumber, something that many of you probably grew up with, could easily be out of business. And my phone is ringing from other, most of the time, one location's operations that are on the verge. And there was just a recent big announcement of a developer a few days ago. So it's here. We're not asking you to apologize, but to analyze, listen, and adapt as we all do every day. For the good news, hope for change, a new approach. To start, please stop vilifying builders and their associated trades. It's a tired spiel. It may be good politics, but it's not truthful. And the truth is that your actions, the 3 levels of government and the policies, are the one that caused this crash. Not the developers, not the builders, not the subtrades. And by the way, how could the lumber guy be at fault? Seriously. So to those councillors, some are in the room, MPs and MPPs who understood the math, thank you. Thank you very much. We cannot allow those on council, and trust me, after some of the phone calls I get, who are ill-informed or simply following their own dogma to continue with insane practices. They need to be called out. We deserve councillors and a mayor who can control budgets and lead, which should be true of every municipality, and we work in about 20 of them. And for goodness sakes, because this is going to go to all of them, get your staff back to work. Get your staff back to the office. It's unreal. We never left. Like, you know that during COVID, we all had to work double hard, wearing masks, right? And we did it. And now to beg people to be there when you want to drop off a set of plans, it's inexcusable. The good news is that you can reverse the policies choking our industry. And like the result of that wonderful H.S.T. holiday on restaurants during COVID, remember that? Well, when you reduce the tax, the multiplier effect of affordability creates jobs. And that's what happened, and that's what we can do here. Just roll it back. And to the folks of Burlington, I'm delighted you're here, by the way, but not surprised. Please do vote your change through. Kudos for doing the work and listening to logic. Yeah. Recognizing the success for us is also a success for ratepayers, homeowners, and as you're now noticing, your financial viability. And for Premier Ford's administration, thank you for changes you made to improve efficiency and transparency. There have been some things you've done that have been well done. But we need the H.S.T. re-indexing on all construction projects urgently. And just to take 1 second, I got a call from Doug. I was watching Ninja Warriors in the evening, and I guess I lost one. But I gave him a really hard time because I said, but you said you were going to do it. And he said, yeah, I'm waiting for Carney. And I went, I kept going, stop it. You said you would, but now you're not. So you don't think that people buying a new home in Brampton or wherever at $1 million aren't going to wait until you put it through? The same message I've given to Carney trying to get through the 5%. And yeah, he was listening. We're still waiting. To Prime Minister Carney, please expand the 5% relief to all construction projects. please trust for me and get it done quickly. The current definition of first-time home buyers will not be enough to kickstart this now. But if our governments cooperate and roll back the taxes, we stand a chance of kickstarting and protecting the jobs. We need your support, or the crisis, trust me, and you've heard it from several, will continue. Thank you for the award sincerely and your support of Turkstra products and services. Like all of you in the room, the short-term focus is not on making money, but on surviving, providing, and protecting jobs and supporting families. And I know that's true for all of the developers and builders in the room. My sincere thanks to all of the volunteer members, board members of the OHBA who put their time to highlight the obvious and policy issues and push for change. Let us hope that common sense will lead to improved policy and action. I have two wonderful daughters, Laura and Sarah, who are in the room, and our Director of Finance, son-in-law, a big studly one over there, Jason, and now a grandson, Quinn, and a granddaughter on the way. It would be nice if they could be the fourth generation of a family success story. As entrepreneurs, we must, I'm sorry if I seem aggressive, continue to kick and scream to give them and new homeowners and Canadians that opportunity. So my simple wish, it was not too much to ask, is for change, to give us all in the room a chance. We are entrepreneurs and we will rise to the occasion. After all, we do live in the best country in the world, and I believe that sincerely.